Hello guys, welcome back. So today is second session of Crackdown.cpp and I welcomed all of you. So anyone wants to tell about yesterday's experience? Unmute yourself and speak some so we can understand what you are feeling. Anyone?
Can I try?
Yes, yes.
We know about a basic idea about C++ language, how to use
Yes.
the variables and function, and many more things learn from this event.
Okay. But many students don't know about any programming language, so we are starting from scratch. So don't worry about that. We are covering latest. Okay. So now it's fine. Let's start the session of Crackdown.cpp. So I would like to hand over Mr. Romik to go further and start. So Romik, yeah.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Jeet. So yesterday we have understood some basic concepts like declaring variable, what is a return statement, or what is include. These are the some kind of basic statement. But if there are some major concepts like array, structures, STL, and functions overloading. Uh, then after some algorithms which are using for building some kind of logics. So we will introduce today. So let's start our second session. Let me present my screen. Am I visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's start. Let's see what is our agenda for today. In today's session, we will learn array, string, STL, vector, reference, memory address, pointers, function overloading. These concept, all of these concept, most of you don't know about these major concepts. You just have idea like array, what is string, and some related to function. But all these concepts are very major. So try to understand it deeply. If you understand just the concept, then you can easily interact with it. So let's start with array. Okay. So what is array? Whenever you need to store some kind of information, like there are multiple data, when you want to store marks of students, then in the class there are many students, 14, 15. When you want to store number of skills what the user have, there you need to declare more than one variable to store all kind of information. But to handle that kind of data, C++ uh, have a way like array. You can store all some kind of information that must be a same type, and with the limit how many data will come in the variable. You have to declare with a limit and only a data type. you can store all in a one variable. So you can check here, array is a data structure consisting a collection of homogeneous element. Homogeneous means the same kind of elements. Each identify one or more array index or key. So what is index? Index is a position of value in variable where you can find a specific value by their index. Memory location in array known as element. The value of specified array is identified by memory address or index. Total number of element in array called length. If you want to find the length of array, then total number of element is your length. You must have to specify with declaration of array. Then after, array used when the need to many variable in the same type. Same type of as we discussed. So we need the same type we don't need the same type of variable. It is used to store collection of data, and more useful thing, arrays collection of variable. Is a kind of understanding way how you understood it. 2D array is used for represent matrices. So there are three or two or three kind of array. To understand that types, you must have to first what understand in a programming what is an array. So let's start our first program. First we will create a file array. What is the basic structure of program? So let's include. You can see VS Code providing me suggestions, some CPP related. You can include, just have to go to extension section and find a C++ related extension. This extension is very useful too. This is providing me very useful suggestions. Let me show you. If I want to include some files, providing a bit better suggestion using space std. So what is the structure of an array? How to declare? How we can declare array? Let's check our program. To declare an array, we must have to first specify type, then variable name, and then the size of an array. How many elements will be there in the array to store the same kind of data. So first we have declared here a marks as a variable. Then in a loop we have gathering information from user, and it will print the data what have user entered. So let's try to build a program. Teacher marks as of an array. We will using only a 5 elements. For it will provide me a syntax of for loop. Integer I, then the count of the element 5. Array of index is always starting from 0. Index always from 0. So see out. I. And then let's try to print. It's always helpful me to structuring the program. So we have to compile the program. Plus O one.
There is one connection lost of our speaker. He will join soon. Please be calm.
Sorry guys, there is some internet related issue that I have disconnected. Okay, so where we are, we are trying to understood the number of element we have used 5. Am I visible? Just type yes or no.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. Now You can see here number of marks you have to enter. 5 number, then we are gathering input from user and just try to print that marks. Let's run this program. Asking for 5 times just the size of it. You can check here only a 5 number of marks will enter. But what is two-dimensional array? Two-dimensional array means if you want to use data in row and column, to specify the number of row and then specify the number of column. The first argument, the first index is for row and the second argument is for the column. How many number of column will be there into the array, and as per the same way there are multi-dimensional array. You can specify the n dimensional. So let's try to build a 2D array. And this. Two, and the number of the column is 3. If you want to store initialization time, specify value here 10, 20, and 30. Hmm, 16. Now, if you want to print any two-dimensional array and you don't know about the size, if you want to print any two-dimensional array with the dynamically, like you will get dynamically length of array, let the rows. How many rows are there in the array? Okay. Okay. So using size of element, you can find the number of row or the size of a specified variable. So you will getting a size of variable dividing by the one element, like size of s0. It will return a number of row. How many rows are there in the array? Integer calls size of first row divided by size of what we are storing here as a single value integer. So let's try to divide by size of integer. Now we will print first for rows. Now the second loop is we are using a nested loop. Integer here the calls. How many number of column there? Now let's try to print them. Out here. First we have to declare row, then I. We have number of row and number of column in there. Out and then now compile first. array, array. You can check here the number of row is 2 and the number of column is 3, but the array is printed dynamically. If you change here the number of column and row, compile and run. Okay, so this is an array. So do you have any confusion about array? You can type a question here. So this is the method of storing or declaring array. Uh, how we first specify the number of indexes, how many value will be there in array. After that, we can initialize with the default value. Also, we can specify a single value that will assign for all the index. Same for the multi-dimensional array. So, if you want, what if you want to search from the array? Like there are a number of elements in the array, but you want the specified value. Like there are number of marks, but if you want to find only a 19 marks from the array, so let's try to build a searching program from the array. Search underscore array. Let's declare a variable. Number of element is 5. Now let's try to find search element is 14. Here or not. For integer, number of element is 5. And just print the number a of I. If the value of a of I is matching with our searching element, then print cout. I and break the loop. It's a break statement that will break the loop and move the further. Compile. Search array. Search array. Yeah, sure. Uh, to find, let's first clear the searching program. There is the number 8 index 3. What is the index 3 here? The element is 4, but the index is 3. 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we are finding the 40 number adds the number of index 3. So what is your question about how to find a row? You can see how many number of rows here. Statically, we can say only a 3 number. But if you want to find dynamically, then just check. Let's say integer b having a 5 element. Just forgot about row. Let's consider it as a sub element. 5 means it only have a 5 any kind of integer value, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So let's try to print the size of this array. Yeah, size of is- let's return from here. It will not execute the further program. I think it will return compile time error. No, return error. So what is the size of array? 20. Why? Why it is 20? Because a single integer contains 4 bytes. Then how many number of integer we have? 5. Then 4 into 5 is equal to 20. Now let's say we have size of an integer and we are storing an integer as a sub element. So let's try to divide a size of an array means 20 is the size of an array. Divide by a single integer memory size. It is 4. Then we can find the number of sub elements. Let's consider a same example for 2D array. What will be the size here? We have 3 columns, means 3 integer in each row. And there are 3 number of row, means again try to add 3 and same of them. The size of A divided by first row. What is the size of first row? It is 3 by 3. It means 9. The size of A divided by first row, it will return you the number of row. And as per the same concept, let's try to find the column size. The size of first row divided by the number of sub element. What is the sub element? It is a single integer. And what is the whole sub element? It is a row of array. It's like a hierarchy structure. You can find the size of sub element and divide it. Then you can find the number of sub element. How many number of sub element are there in the array? Okay. So this is a searching program. After that, we will learn about array. So this is see like here we store 2, 4, 5, but the number of is 1 or 1 for 2, not 2, 4. You can in a second image. So this is the concept of array, how the C structure handling a array, and we will move to further for string. String are used for storing text. Yesterday we have learned about how the structure or character we can store a character in a single variable. But what if we want to store a line or want to store a bunch of characters in a single element? We can use a string concept. Like if for using string, you have to include a header file. Bits stdc++ or use string as a header file. And string is a case sensitive. Guys, give me a minute. There is a trouble. So let's try to understand what is string. First, you have to include a header file. Then try a static keyword is string is a declaring type, and it will store as a string. So let's try to build a program. Demo string.cpp is include a stream input output is include. It will suggesting me. You can check here what I want to use a file. Then what is the sum htb plus plus dot h, suggesting me all subheader files include string using namespace which are main return 0. Declare a first string x without value, string y with only a word hello, string z with a statement hello, how are you. Will not allow us let's compile the program, try to print see out wait, plus plus no string You can check here a single string available in a single variable. After that, we'll move to our next slide. What is uh, string? What if you want to take as input from user as a string? Let's take an input from user, cout, enter your name. Declare a variable for name. Name. Let's take a first name. Print hello. Cout, and then how are you? Entering my name. So it's saying hello and how are you? You can build some simple program by using taking input as a name and printing them hello. So after that, move to next. What if I will try to enter my full name? Romik Khan. It's taking only a Romik. Why? Because we are placing a space between a string. It default input use a comma or space as a break statement that will consider as a second argument of our program. But how if we want to get input from user as a whole string containing a space, so you can use their getLine function. Just use getLine what you want to perform and where you want to store. After that, the string concatenation. String concatenation means just a simple, uh, just concat two variable value in a single variable, or anywhere if you want to print a whole string like I have stored my first name and last name in two separate variable and want to print directly concatenation. Just click here, enter first name.
Sir, hello.
And this is the
Maybe
last
you are
one.
mute. Okay.
Now, now try to concat. We are using a sign for concatenation for, but let's try a plus last name. Compile program. Asking me for first name, name is Romy. Next is one. Saying me hello with just first name. Why? We have not stored in a variable that name, sorry, string name, name is equal to concatenation. Compile a program. No, output is here. You can also use. I am checking my old version. You can check your output. Again asking me for name. Name Romit Makwan. So this is a concatenation of string. After that, we will learn about some kind of functions providing us to use with string like length, substring, find, refine. If you want to find the length of string, just type string dot length. String means a variable and dot length. Dot length. And try to find substring. If you want to find any substring, how many time hello world is used in a single paragraph, then used to find start index where you want to find and the length index. Sorry, in a find, just type a substring. Substring function is used for uh, breaking a whole line. If you want to break a line in 10 character, only a first 10 characters in starting index is 0, and what is the length of you want to break, it is 10. Find function is used to find a substring like how many times saying a hello, then print only hello, it will return the count of hello, sorry, position of hello. And refind means second occurrence, second where he will say hello a second time. After that, this is the program of using functions for string. Swapping. There is a swap function that is used to swap the value of two variables. If you want to swap a variable A with variable B, then just type swap function. There need to pass two arguments. First is a main variable, and the second is the with whom you want to replace. After that, comparing string. To comparing string, just use comparison operator. It will return 10 or this is the index of character returning. If you compare with greater than or less than operator, then there are some other functions like to lower. If you want to convert a whole string in a lower case, then if you want to find convert a whole string in uppercase, that will all character will uppercase. Is lower to check the string is lower or to check the string is upper, just returning a boolean value. So this is a string. Do you have any confusion in string? I think it's a simple concept of C++. Let's try to explore something major. Standard template library. I think it is a little hard for you, but let's try to understand easily. So first of all, forget about this statement, standard template library. As you know, what is a header file? Header file is just a separation of functionality. If you want to use input output operation, then include IO string. If you want to use string functions, include bit string header file. If you want to use math functionality, then you include math header file. They are separated by header files. Same as the concept standard template library is providing some kind of not only a function but some kind of operations like algorithms, containers, iterators, that are major concepts that will helpful for you to building a program with lower coding. If you want to find a element from array, and that array may be a multi-dimensional, then you must have to build a whole program like looping nested loop, using nested loop in any place. But how if there is already a function, by using that function you directly find a specified element from the multidimensional array. So this is the concept of standard template library, introduced mostly introduced in 1994. What it including? For algorithm sorting, if you want to sort a whole array in ascending or descending order, use algorithm of sorting like searching with algorithm, useful array algorithm, partition operation. If you want to divide a array in some partition like 10 number of element in each row of one dimensional array. So these are the some major concepts. You just have to know what is a standard template library. All these concepts are really new for you. Swapping, multi-set is like same concept of array. Also the vector is a vector list as the same concept of array, but in array you have to specify the number of length and the same type, and they're also handling only a index by index, like starting from 0 and with n elements. But if you want to use associative array where the index of element is can be anything, string, number. So so there are some different concepts like forward list, array. Let's try our fourth, vector. So what is vector? Vector, let's consider example of an array. You check here, we have number, how many number of elements are there in single variable? We are using a four number of marks. But what if you don't know the number of element? How many number of element are will be there in a single variable? If you want to declare a variable without a size of an array, the concept will introduce as a vector. Just the same concept, using an array concept without a size of array, introduced as a vector. So you can give an initial size vector using the declaration. If you want to specify the size, then you can. If you don't want to specify size, there are no any kind of limitation. first argument the size of a vector, and the second argument is the value where he will assign in each element. This is the problem. Just use include vector file, vector, the type of the value that will be in array, the size of second, if you specify as a function the size of vector, then the value of vector, it will return a value. So let's try to build include IOC, include vector using nested integer main. Now just declare a vector, return type. You have seen that the declaration of vector, it is little different than other types. Like you are specifying data type as a prefix variable, but here you are specifying vector and specify the type, means a specified type. What is a type? Vector. Variable type is vector, but what is the sub element? It is an integer. V1 without a size. Vector with a size. Vector with value. It will assign 20 value for each position. Let's try to print. Let's try to print V3 4. So what is our size? Let's take a dynamic raw elements. N is equal to size of V3 divided by size of sub element, means size of index 0. Sorry, not a let, but a integer. V3 printing in a loop an element out V3 of I. Returning 0. Also print size of n vector. Out size of V3 is V. compile G++ or vector demo vector. Name, file name, compiling. Now run program. You can see here there is a little issue. I have to add inline in the error. So you can check here is a 20 as value for each element. The size of vector is 10. After that, we'll move to further. Like if you want to add an element in vector, then use pushback. Means it will add at the last element. Popback will remove a last element from array. After that, we will introduce to reference. What is reference in C++? But before that, do you have any kind of confusion about the vector or std, SLT, array string? You can ask. So let's continue with our next concept, reference. So what is reference? Is our general language. Reference is one kind of introducing someone or where he belongs from. Reference, what is his, by whom reference is appointed. So in C language, just a address of specific variable where it is stored is considered as reference. If you want to find someone's address, some variable's address in C, then just type with end memory address concept. So first let's look at about a reference. If you have two variables, demo.cpp as include a stream using namespace std. The main, it will returning 0. Let's consider you have two variables a and b. You are assigning a 10, but if you want whenever the value change the value of a, it will also reflect to b. Like if you want to change it, doing some iterations, looping and conditions, the variable a is changing in each iteration, and you don't have want to same concept, uh, like same iteration for b, then you can assign as reference b for a, and b is equal to a. It will always look over to a. In the backend, how it is working in C compiler or C execution, it will store the address of A to the address of B. In C, whenever you declare any kind of variable, it will assign a new address to variable. But whenever you declare a variable with and sign, it will store the same address of specified variable to this variable, destination variable. Let's check how it's working. Out value of a is a end line. Let's change the value of a. A is equal to 20 and try to print the value of b. Value of b is, what is the value here? It must be 30, not the 10. Plus plus want an object and demo reference. Now object for which file? Demo reference. Now running program. So you can check, I have printed the value of a 10, then I have changed the value of a, it will automatically change the value of b, but in the backend it is not changing the value of b. It had already assigned the value of a variable a and b in a same address, same location they are locating. Checking every time whenever you want the value of a or b, it will get from the same address. So this is the concept of reference, how it's working. This is the old stuff I have understood you. So let's move to next. What is memory address? Memory address, what we have used in reference. So let's try some tricky program. Here a variable 1, 2 and 3 printing its address. I have told you a same address. So let's try to print variable a and b address. Return from here. I want to create the next program. Integer where 1 equal to 10. Integer where 2 equal to 20. Take the address of both variables. Address of where 1 is where 1 and where 1. And 9 out address of where 2 is two inline return 0. Demo reference. You can check here the address of variable 1 and 2. Let's try some trick. You have understood a string concatenation program. So this is printing like this. Okay, let me copy and give you a little task. It's printing like this. Output. But what if I want an output like this? what I have to write in statement. Does anyone have an idea? Just write down here a statement. How does concatenation work? If I want to use a comma in a string, printing string. Is there anyone? No one. I have to done all the things. Just use a slash mark. Also done same. Good. Let's check it's working or not. Yeah, it's output like this. Okay, let's move to our next topic. OX is a starting a beginning of hexadecimal form. And pointer. What is pointer? Let's understood a pointer. Pointer are variables that store the memory address of other variable. Pointer is variable that used to store the memory address of other variable. Like this, you can check the program. Variable 20 and IP. IP is storing the address of variable where. Value of variable where, then print the address of variable in IP. It will return the value and address. If you use star sign as a prefix of IP, then it will print a value, and if you print just IP, it will print a variable address. So this is a simple concept used to store address of specific variable. Then we'll move to a function. This is a major concept of C++. If you want to build a large program, then currently you are just typing a program in a single method, main. But how do you separate your program in different methods? Like create your own method and use it. If you want to use it again, then use n number of time. Like let's introduce what is a function. Function is a block of code which only run when it is called, like a main method. It is a block of code, and when it will execute, then the C will call a main method. As per the same concept of main method, we can understand create your own method and use in a main method. Like you can pass data known as parameter. If you are passing a parameter with here, then this is a parameter. Now n number of parameter, you can pass n number of parameter, but you must have to declare a function. Functions are used to certain actions, like they are important using code. Like if you want to, let's check a program. Let's have a program. We have a printed 2D array. But what if you have three variable like this? B and C. Now, if you want to print all variable are different size with different sizes. Like, there are only 2 row in B and 2 column in B. There are 2 B, C and 3 column. I have to remove 1 column. So now you have to print all size variable. Then you must have to write this code 3 times. But what if we call it as a function and pass an argument? The function, let's remove this code, is integer. So let's void, use a void. If your function is not returning anything, what is an argument? Let's have an example. Declare function not executed immediately, saved and later used it. Main method used a function. Then in function parameter, this is a parameter you have to pass at the call time. It will execute your code. So when parameter is passed to a function, whenever you pass as a parameter, it will use it. Then after, this is a functional parameter, like you pass or may not pass. If you specify a value here, then you do not have to pass a parameter with this. Let's here call a function int an array, pass as argument, a as argument. You have to specify type. What is the type? Integer. What is the variable? A. An array. You have to specify thing or type. Check, is it working? Not. Sorry, not demo reference, but to the array. Plus plus dash o the array. Declare not here the size of. Okay, I cannot pass a size. I have to pass only a single variable. Out. Let's have another example. Hello name handle. Out. How are you? If you want to print these, you have to use vector function. But to understand the functionality, let's have a simple example. Pass a string. String name. string name is equal to Romik, or we are directly pass this int name, pass a name, int name. Now try to print handle handle. We don't have to write this code in number of times. Just use as a function. Okay. To the array compiling. You can check here separate name. Just call a function. After that, we'll move to parameter function. We used nominal variable. When we pass parameter function, it also pass reference. Means reference, you have already introduced to concept of reference. Reference means passing a address or tracking a specified variable. Whenever the targeting variable value will change, also value will change of destination variable. Then function overloading. What is function overloading? Function overloading means declare a two function with different operation. Like if you want to done operation of sum, but you may have floating number or you may have integer number, then there are declare two function, specify their types in separation and use that function as you need. Let's take a little bit more. Instead of defining two functions that should the same thing, it is better to overload one. Means when you want to use same functionality in two function, into separate function, then it will, like here example plus function, it is used for integer and it is used for double, I mean the fraction number. Here are some two example. Plus with 8 and 5 both are integer, and here is a 4.3 and 6.26 both are fraction number. It will return output of both. Whenever you pass integer, it will goes to integer function. Whenever you pass fraction number, it will call a double function. So this is the concept of function overloading. On basis of that, I have created a little example. You can take function overloading. Let me introduce you. I have created a session-2.cpp file where you can check a whole concept as a function, separate functions. First, we have what we have introduced an array. I have declared three functions: d array, array search, 2d array. I have used that function in main method, and defining that function at the end of the file, all the functions. Let me show you. Main method is calling the separate functions whenever you need. If you want to check a array function, just goes to, let's go to a d array, means a single dimensional array. Just press. There is a little more about it. If you press Control and hover it, it will show you the definition of function, where it locate and what is its type. Let's Control and press the function. It will go to a definition of function. It will taking argue marks from student and print it. What is another example? Here, search. Control press searching element from array. What is next? Two-dimensional array. What is a 2D array? There is a concept of rows and columns, printing it, and a string function, demo string. What is a string and how it's working? There is a function for string input, taking input from user, entering first name and last name, print as a concatenation. There is a function for string function, length. We do not have programmed functions of length or some kind of string functions. Let's try to print what we are looking for. String functions. Here is a string function, uncomment it, try to compile. C++ dash o session 2 session 2 sorry session 2. Now run this program. You can check here how it's working. So let's check. I have included a header file. Then it will go for using namespace. It will use std namespace. This part is for function declaration. Declare all kind of function which you are using in this concept. Function declaration, where you don't have to specify the definition of function, means code block of function. What is the difference between declaration and definition of function? Declaring means specify return type, what is the name as function, and specify the number of argument which you are passing in function. The only is called a declaration function. But where you defined it, writing the code block of function, you must have to there specify the same thing, or the return type, function name, passing an argument if you are passing or not. Then define a function, and if it is void, then it's not returning. If you are specifying some other type like integer, string, then you have to pass here return as integer 0 or something else. String, if string, then return a text. So this is a function, concepts of function. Let's some other work. I have last understood a function overloading program. Let's try to build. So understood a function overloading program. What is function overloading? Function overloading is here. In VS Code, you can find whenever you hover a function, it will show you how many arguments you have to pass in the function. You can check here. The name of function is demo. You have to pass first argument as string, second argument is string. And this function is overloaded 2 times. This is the definition of function. Where you are using it, just have to specify which function you want to call. Dash o. You can check here. Your name is roaming. Your name is roaming. Makwana, how I am passing the argument is calling a function. If I had passed 2 arguments, then it will call for 2 that function which are considering 2 arguments. If I pass only 1, then it will goes for only 1. So this is the function overloading program. As per the today's session, we have understood lots of functionality of C++. From last half hour, we are going to solve your confusions. If do you have any kind of confusion, you can ask. Does anyone have question? Let's have a break of 5 minutes and we'll return in some time. Hello guys. So see, this is the C++, all the basic understanding. From yesterday, what we are trying to understand, let's revise all the things. What we have understand, let's revise. First, we have created a hello world program. Let's check. Hello world program, basic understanding about C, where we can use C, what is the major updates. After that, what is client server device, drivers, embedded firmware. Why we are using C++ because it is very near to GPU. Then after we will included what are the equipment needed to start with C++. Then we have introduced to a basic syntax. How does the program look like? We have need a basic structure of program, integer, main method, and the return statement. Then what is new line character? Then after what is the comment? A single line comment, multi-line comment, input output operation, printing, scanning, using cout and cin. You can get input from the user. What is data type? There are separate type of data like boolean, character, integer, float, void. Void is used for returning value from a function. If you are specifying return type void as a variable function, then you do not have to specify a return. Then what is constant? Constant does not change the value after the initialization. The basic data types listed here. Okay, sure. I will share. Okay, after that we will introduce the assignment operator, different type of arithmetic operator like plus, minus, multiplication, division. After the assignment, if you do not want to use like this statement, you can directly this. After that, comparison operator, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, or equal. After that, logical operator, mostly logical operator are uses with if condition. After that, preprocessor, how does the C program will execute in a terminal. After that, we will with introduce with type def. What is the type of, or we want to specify our specific type. Then we have introduced size of, and we have used size of in finding the row and the column. Or if you want to find the specific sub element of any structure, then you can find you can use size of operator. Then we have introduced a function, math function. After that, we will go to libraries of math function. What are the function of math library? Condition, if condition. There are a separate type of if, like if, ladder if, this is a simple if, else if, then after ladder if, nesting, then switch casement. Switch casement is faster than if else. If you have a direct equation, direct comparison with value, if you are not comparing with greater than or less than. Then we have introduced a break statement. Break statement is used to break iteration. Like if you want to break a loop in middle of something, then use a break statement. If you want to go from last to first, then use go statement. Label is a position of go-to statement. Then after looping, there are separate type of looping like a for loop. For each loop, the first start with while loop, then do while loop. Then after do while loop is doing some statement, then check the condition. While while loop use to where check first condition and then done the code of block. After that, nesting for loop. For each loop, if you have a number of array, then you can pass with for each loop. The jumping statement like a break, skipping part of loop. If you want to skip a specific number of array, then use continue. After this, in this session, today's session, we have learned array. Firstly, introduce with array. What are the types of array? Two-dimensional, one-dimensional, multi-dimensional. They're printing the array. This is the array. How does the array works? Storing structure of array, searching from array. Then after, what is a string? What are the header files you have to use for using string functions? These are the sum of functions header string library. Also, these are the functions to lower to upper. Then standard template library, collection of standard library to use some kind of major operation like algorithm, containers, iterator. Then after there are some kind of operation like sorting, searching. This is the use of standard template library. Vector. What is a vector? Vector is like same work same like array, but there are no need to specify how many number of elements in there. You can use pushback. It will add a specified element. If the last of array, pop function will remove last element from the array. Sorry, vector. Then reference. What is reference? Reference is targeting and destination variable that will we do not have to handle two variable with same operation. Then after memory address, so where how does the C storing a specific variable and finding the specific address of any variable. Then after pointer, what is pointer? Pointer is used to store address of variable, and if there you want to access the value of variable, then use star function. Star as a prefix, and if you want address, then use just direct a variable. After that, we introduce to function. Then this is the function, declaring function, defining function. After that, what is return type and what is functional argument, calling a function. These are the some major concept you have to parameter arguments. After that, what is function overloading? Defining two functions with separate operation. Pass as argument as you want. So this is the whole session what we have done. Let me share you PPT and a last program. How can I share here? Chit, can you help?
Sir,
Hmm?
we will send in WhatsApp group. No problem.
Okay, done. Take a session 2 program that will helpful for students.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is the C++ program. Do you have any input or have any kind of confusion? Just ask.
Thank you very much, Romik bhai. Guys, if you find any query or any doubts regarding C++ till we studied, then please raise your hand or you can unmute yourself. I think there is no doubt. So we can end our session. Thanks for being such a wonderful audience with us. And hope you guys are enjoyed this session very much. Thank you. You can leave now.
Okay, thank you.